the show, everyone. As you all know, I made it possible for everybody to be able to talk about themselves on the radio. How fun is that? And who doesn't like to talk about themselves? We are live on Facebook, so I want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. If you want to, you can put in Networking Arizona, all spelled out, right into the search bar of Facebook, and watch us in here right now doing this show live. It is so much fun, and I'm going to go in with my first guests who have been on with me once before. I have with me Karen and Josh Logan, and they are the owners of Guardian Training and Consulting. Welcome to the show. Before you came on, and Happy New Year to you, Happy New Year to everybody that's listening. Before you came on the show, we've been talking because I said the world has gone nuts. You know, you can't even go shopping anywhere without, feeling a little bit intense because of things that could happen. Sure. Tell everybody a little bit about yourselves and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Josh Logan. I'm one of the co-founders. My better half is next to me here, the CEO. So I guess both of our backgrounds have been in career law enforcement, and so we started kind of as police officers, worked our careers, had a great time doing it. Going from call to call to call to working narcotics and gangs, and then we finally retired, and we decided to start our own company, and we're not trying to walk around with a big dumb smile on our face, just being happy to meet all our awesome clients and doing what we do.
Well, you have a lot of things that you do, and right now what I want to do is just sort of talk about the world that we're living in right now, because, I told you a story. I'll say it. We'll start off with that just right off bat. I went to the mall during the holidays. I had somebody behind me that was a little bit too close for comfort. And that could happen, like I said. It doesn't matter whether or not there's a pandemic or going on
Sure.
or not. That can happen to anybody at any time. We all have our personal space, right? So the person behind me got a little bit upset with me, and it's just two old ladies, and it was so scary because, not scary, but it felt so uncomfortable because she turned around and said, when you stop talking, when you shut up, I will move. Yeah. And I thought to myself, holy moly, what could happen? And I just turned around and shut my mouth and got myself out of there, because now today there are people that are getting angry. There's so much anger, pushing, shoving, fighting, killing, all sorts of things. And I want to talk a little bit about what's going on and what people should do. A lot of people that they're afraid.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the stress levels, we can see it, with our everyday experiences and what we're seeing on the news. And what we try to do is we invite our clients into our classroom and we talk about de-escalation. We talk about use of force models, which in my opinion is what's lacking in, our everyday discussions, whether you're watching people talking about everyday occurrences on TV or you're talking about it amongst your friends. I think that is what is lacking with folks in general. People are just going from 0 to 100, right? If 100 is the top of the bottom of the barrel, I should say, people are just going straight from 0 to 100.
Right, they're watching too much television that teaches them what to do at that point, not to the baby steps.
Right. And again, what we teach is avoidance. So when it comes to altercations or potential problems or issues with other people out and about, there are so many other options. And again, it's, being a good witness to an altercation rather than getting involved. Or if someone has something, snide remark to say, it's okay to just brush it off. There are days in my life when I lived back in Chicago, road rage was a big thing, and I would get really frustrated. And I see it every day. It's okay to just drive away.
I know, but people feel like they're invincible. Mm-hmm. And when somebody pisses somebody off, let's put it that way, right? Mm-hmm. The next thing you know is, excuse me, what did you say to me? Yeah. Right? And then that becomes escalating.
Well, you look at the perspective of you ask them to, just step back a little bit to give you some space, and their reaction was in that very negative connotation. And we ask these clients, we have clients that kind of, we play these role play games, in a lot of classes, and, you respond with that, well, the minute you shut up is the minute that I'll step back.
How do you tell a radio show host to shut up? No, I'm sorry.
What are you going to, what kind of, so the question you have to ask yourself is, what reaction are you going to manifest with saying something like that?
Right. Well, so, I'm a scaredy cat, so I was quiet.
But even the non-scaredy cat people, you look at, like, for example, like me, I have the choice of stepping up and saying, I don't think you meant that, or let's start over. Right. Let's start over and let's have a conversation.
Let's retape that.
Exactly.
We do that.
And let's do that. Let's start over and let's have a conversation. Or you just go like, well, I think the discretion is the better part of valor in your regard, and just avoid it.
Right.
Because it could be a person that has a bad day.
Right.
Could it be a person that's just proverbially pissed off wherever they go, and nothing you can say or do is going to change their mind.
Well, the thing is about what you do. People really need to listen up right now because, of course, I think everything is escalated right now. We're going to talk about people who are dealing with road rage, people who get burglarized. I want to talk a little bit about that. When you work with people, you have a system. You have this new system that you want to talk about, and you're mobile so that you can actually go to them. Let's talk a little bit about that part of what you do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we just purchased a brand new mobile training simulator. So this is the best way of explaining it is we have a 12-foot by 8-foot screen, so 12 feet wide, 8 feet tall, and it projects images and videos onto a screen. So we can pull up real-world scenarios ranging from a verbal confrontation like you had, right? That could escalate based on effective or ineffective communication of the student that's in the scenario. Mm-hmm. So before they even go in the scenario, we actually take their pulse rates before even the class starts to get everybody's resting heart rate. So we want to quantify what acute stress, right? Because you felt, I'm sure your blood pressure went up when you were just in shock.
Oh my God.
Right?
This old lady,
right?
So nice.
So nice.
My God.
And so your blood pressure went up. So you went through an acute stress moment. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we put them in those simulations in a scenario like that can range from a verbal confrontation to an assault, right? A physical assault all the way up to a deadly force encounter. Mm-hmm. And so we can actually change that simulation on the fly from an instructor standpoint based on the effective or ineffective communication of the student. So we can truly role play.
You go to them.
Correct.
And you have obviously it's probably big, so they come into you and you work with them. Is that correct? Or do you do it in their home?
No, we can do it in their home.
So
We've
you
done
can do it in their home.
Yeah.
Home, office.
Church,
okay.
Any venue. All I need is 14 feet of standoff from the screen to the projector and 10 people, and we can do it in somebody's home.
They're rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they're nationwide. They do free consultations. You really ought to check them out. It's readytoday.org. So readytoday.org. You can also call them. Their phone number is 480-331 4192. Can we give away a class?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do it. We're going to do a 1-hour free private lesson. It's a $100 value free to you or anyone you know. There's a lot of things you need to be prepared for today. We need to be prepared for what's going on in the world. We need to be prepared if you carry. They also teach that. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. They do CPR training. Being prepared, that's what it's all about. What are you doing today to prepare for tomorrow is what you're all about. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk further about this. Our number here to get entered into a class, and maybe it's for you or maybe it's for someone that, this could be phenomenal for somebody out there, for everybody out there. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. It's readytoday.org. Everyone, it's all about being prepared. And right now we are talking about that and what's going on in the world today and how to protect yourself in different levels. We're going to start at the bottom, and then you're going to go obviously to the way top, which God forbid that happens to anyone. I would not want that. One of the things that I want to talk about first before we go anywhere on this thing is your virtual program.
Yeah, so we started a virtual training program. So it's an online content membership site. So what what it does is it offers training in the form of videos, in the form of discussions with all of our patrons. So it's a part of that Patreon page, and so we called it now it's called the Guardian Workouts. We're probably going to change name here soon. But what they do is they sign up for a membership at $10 a month to start with, and they get daily and monthly content, and it's all driven by the community. So we have a server on the side where people can talk to each other and go, hey, I want a video on this, I want a video on that. Hey, how do I better secure my home? How do I do this? How do I a tourniquet familiarization or bleeding control, a first aid class. It's not to certify anybody, but it's more of just to provide training that is affordable, accessible, and digestible on the matter that where anybody's at. So if you can't afford for Guardian to come to you, or across the country, or you can't come to Guardian here, then that's the best way to do it. It's $120 a year, $10 a month.
Yeah, and again, you're going to learn a lot from that. And the website would be readytoday.org.
Correct.
Go up there and check it out. We've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered into win. It's a 1-hour free private lesson, and that is $100 value free to you or anyone that you know. Let's go into the first little story that I was telling you also about my mommy. My mom, but this was in the 70s, and this is why after I told the story, I think that it's so important for people to understand those days are gone. The way things were, and there was bad stuff that happened then too, believe me, but today it's just more prevalent. It just seems like it is, and a lot worse. I guess people just have so much, they are so exposed, and they can get their hands on so much too, and there's so much anger right now too. My mom, 82 pounds all her life, walked in on somebody who was stealing her fur coat, and my mom screamed out, "Put that down!" The guy put it down and ran out. It was probably a neighbor. More than likely, who knows in those days. But seriously, you can't do that anymore, folks. You just can't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you could try it.
Well, you can try, and it's happening. It's happening. There are
Put it down.
Right, burglaries are still happening.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays more criminals are more emboldened. Right, they
don't want fur
like
coats anymore. They can't even wear them anymore.
Right. Typically, what you see from a law enforcement perspective, because we're both retired law enforcement officers, from that perspective, you can assume most people that are burglarizing a house, it's to take your belongings and sell them for money, right? They don't want to take your phone and use it. They don't want to take your TV and use it. They're trying to sell it for money, typically for drugs, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're seeing now is more and more people are looking for the easy things, the cell phones. Like you said, back in the 70s, it wasn't a cell phone, right? We didn't have those things.
The phone off the wall.
Right. So it's a little bit easier, I think. And if, more and more people, back in the 70s, you probably had more stay-at-home moms. You had the more housewives than typically you see now. So houses are vacant more so than they were before.
Right.
It's a lot easier, and it's a lot more accessible to take something smaller of value. And
they're decriminalizing it as well. I mean, again, you're seeing across the country, they're decriminalizing a property crime from burglaries to now you're seeing these mobs coming into Louis Vuitton stores. And so if you're not going to be prosecuted, then why make the arrest if they're not going to be prosecuted? And so then people think that, like right now, like New York is now saying we're not going to prosecute turnstile jumping. So if you're in the subway and her and I are paying a subway fee, why would we pay a subway fee when people are jumping the turnstiles everywhere they go?
Right.
Why would I pay for that?
I understand. It's too confusing.
Right. Well, I think all in all, it adds to the frustration. Right. It adds to the frustration.
I was trying to be funny because really it's stupid.
It is. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense why anybody would do that. But here's the thing, too. What we want to talk about for you is how you want people to understand what to do to protect yourselves, not just them as a person, but also their homes.
Sure.
What do you do so that you already know that you're protected?
Right. And so with that, we've also added a service of a home security inspection. So it's very similar to a real estate home inspection, but we come in, it's a consultation, we walk through your home, we provide a full report on vulnerabilities. How can you harden your slider doors, your windows? What alarm systems are working best? And it's just basically best practices. So it's just a home health check, basically. And it helps people to realize, like, oh, I didn't think that I could harden my windows by putting a film over my windows that would deter somebody. Again, if a bad guy wants to come into your home, they're going to figure out a way to do it. Let's make it less accessible and a little bit harder for them, because they are opportunists. They're looking for an easy way.
Getting this information and getting it from somebody like you, to ex-police officers. By the way, thank you for your service, too. And first of all, all this stuff, and I say it every show, I love my show, and the reason why I love it so much is this information. And again, you're hearing this now. Sure, you can learn a lot of stuff online, but it's nothing like getting it and being trained, because you know what they need to look for. And that's what the people out there don't realize. You really need to have somebody with that second set of eyes for you. We're looking around here seeing, hey, and giving you suggestions of things that you maybe never thought that you would ever think that you could even do. Yeah. Now, we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in and win, and I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. It's a 1-hour free private lesson. It's $100 value free to you or anyone that you know. You could check them out on their website. It's readytoday.org. They're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They work nationwide. They do free consultations. You can also call them direct. It's 480-331-4192. But I say call in here. Get entered in to win this. This is fantastic. Again, our number here is 602-277-5369. I want to go backwards for a second, okay? And I want to talk a little bit about conceal and carry, because more people are carrying than ever, right? Let's talk a little bit about what that means. You like to teach people to kind of like maybe not be around it. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So go ahead.
So our conceal carry class, a lot of times we'll get people say, well, I don't need a conceal carry license to carry concealed in Arizona. And that is the truth. But we practice, we preach education. And with our class, we talk about the use of force model. There are 10 steps that you can go through, starting with not being in a situation to being a good witness, all the way through to using deadly force. And I think a lot of folks don't realize that there are so many options in between. It's not just, 0 to 60. Let's think about all of these things before you take action, so that later you don't take that action and then are sitting there going, oh my gosh, I wish I would have thought about this ahead of time.
Also, I was just thinking here, that movie that's out right now with Sandra Bullock, who the little girl ended up killing somebody, Sure. And all I'm saying is everybody needs to know what's going on. Yeah. Certain things should be locked up, and it's really some people are just too they're too comfortable with things, and so they don't even think, right?
Right, or they're just it's a lot of myths and busting when Josh and I teach, and it's a lot of misinformation. Where are you getting your information? If you're getting it from the internet or listening to no disrespect to our news outlets, but you have to go to a licensed, qualified person to teach you about what it is, the topic that you're talking about. And the topic that we know best is use of force models. It's exposing yourself to violence, because we've seen it. It's not, I'm not just certified on paper. I've been experienced enough, and so has Josh, to talk to you about what would I do if this happens. And I've been taught this. Is this a myth or is this the truth? How do I get out of this situation without going to prison?
Well, yeah, and nobody that wants that to happen.
Right.
Now, you could either have them come to you. They are mobile. They will do that. But you can also do their virtual class. That's what's awesome, is they've made it so that either way, there's no excuse. You can do it, right?
Correct.
So you can check them out on the website. It's readytoday.org. They're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're nationwide. They do free consultations. And we've got our lines open here for everyone to call throughout the rest of the show. It's a 1-hour private lesson. It's $100 value free to you or anyone you know. Our number here is 602-277-5369. And toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Before we go, I just want to talk a little bit about Well, one of the things that you said, there's in between, there's so many things from either not getting involved to deadly force. Run like heck.
Correct.
Let's talk a little bit about that for a second.
I think the biggest thing is the best fight you can ever have is the one that you don't have at all. And that's the biggest thing. Your mouth can get you into trouble as quick as it can get you out of trouble.
And you had a story really quickly about road rage. What was that about?
Yeah, so it was a call about a guy pulling a gun on an individual on I-10, and I responded as a police officer. And when they did, they had to. It turned into an absolute crap show.
And then guess what? 2 people get arrested.
They did not, because they didn't press charges, but I was about ready to take them both to jail.
Wow. You guys, let's calm down a little bit. Take care of yourselves. Protect yourselves. That's what it's all about. It's readytoday.org. Or call in here and get entered in to win.